Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and the market is flat as a board. It seems like XRP's been sitting flat at $3 for like the last 48 plus hours. You know, the way I see things like this, it really feels right now like this market is just sitting here. It's like a calm before the storm, because we know what's ahead of us with interest rates and the ETFs and the freaking Clarity Act and all the stuff that's ahead of us. And like I told you the other day, I was on the phone with my brother, and he says, seems like November, right around, you know, October, November, December, crypto always explodes. Well, there's no better reasons for it to explode than this fall. And so I saw this tweet right here this morning, get ready now. And this is what I've been harping on you. I've been telling you about my partner, iTrustCapital. You can go to iTrustCapital.com/XRP Army. Get ready now is right. Position, that's what I've been doing. I've spent the last 6 months doing this, positioning myself, making sure everything's structured right, so that not only can I have my digital assets in a place where there will be the liquidity if I decide to sell, but also have it in places where I think we could possibly get yield and different things like this. I'm not saying iTrustCapital is going to get XRP yield today or tomorrow. I'm hoping they do sooner rather than later. But one of the reasons I put my XRP there is because I think they're a progressive thinking company and think about things like this. They just added Solana staking. XRP's got to be coming at some point. But I have two IRAs there, and I have a premium custody account. You can send your XRP right in, and you get there's only a 1% trading fee. You don't pay anything for the institutional custody, and they use Fireblock's Coinbase Prime, which is Coinbase's institutional custody, and they also use Fidelity Digital Assets. They also have a promo code if you want a $100 funding bonus when you get an account. This is something I don't think I've ever talked about, but this is something, I'm 51 years old now, and this is one of the things that I'm thinking about in my planning when it comes to XRP. So, I mean, I plan to be able to retire with all this stuff, and this is something to think about, is our advancements in medicine. We're all, you know, when I was a kid, somebody that was 60 years old felt, or 70 felt really old, but now it doesn't feel as much so. And I think 10, 20 years from now, with advancements in medicine and all, the new age could end up being 80 or 90. That could be the new 60.
You said if you're less than 50 years old, you need to think about all this stuff. So if you're 20 to 50 year old,
even if you're like 50 or 60, I mean, you shouldn't be. I think there's going to be a lot of drugs discovered, a lot of medical. The one thing that AI has been incredibly good at, that one of the few things that I use it for, is asking it like medical questions. It's such a incredible encyclopedia of like figuring out what all the possibilities are, and it's so good at that. If you look at AlphaFold, the amount of drugs that are going to be generated, you know, disease curing potential that's there, people can live longer if they'll still be around in 10 years, they might live a lot longer than they expect.
Anyway, I just wanted to play that so that people out there had these thoughts in their mind, because you got to factor that kind of stuff in when you think about, okay, I'm going to sell my XRP. How much time do I need to allot for here? You know, I mean, it's something to think about. Now, folks, when I saw this and I just laughed. When you start to see this kind of stuff come out, folks, this is how you know. What do they call them? Normies. The normies are starting to get it.
Need help. Okay. Investing. Don't know what to do, what it is, but I need help. I need help.
Okay, so I would recommend, so me personally, I have 1.3 million in XRP. So right now it's about $2 and something cents, but the community knows that when I know it will bump up to $10, I'm going to be basically set for life. So I would highly recommend buying XRP. Why are you crying?
What the hell did you just say?
XRP.
I couldn't even understand what X could even stand for.
It doesn't stand for anything. It's just like, XRP doesn't stand for anything like explicitly. It's just like
I'm screwed.
Actually, X means it's a neutral currency.
Crypto men, come this way. Help me.
Just put money into XRP and then you're set for life.
Put my money in it.
Or just spend it all, whatever you want to do.
Well, will the IRS come after me if I, they won't come after me if I do that?
You haven't paid taxes in 2 years, so they're going to come after you anyway.
Not if I hide my money in this XPR stuff. Right?
Yeah, you're right. Just do that.
Oh, mind numbing. But anyway, this guy said, this is one of the ETF guys, he says, watch this video and I'm trying to figure out why BlackRock still hasn't filed for an XRP ETF. We'll get to that. Look at this from Ripple, enabling a new era of efficiency on-chain finance. RLUSD is a crucial piece of Aave's Horizon platform, allowing tokenized products to be used as collateral and flow more efficiently across markets. I don't know if this thing's got copyright music in it, but there's a couple of shots in here you'll see where it shows the Ripple logos, and there it is right there. So times are a-changing. Look, I mean, it's not like we didn't call it or anything. Just as a reminder, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, you're not supposed to know this, but since you're in the XRP community, you do know. JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs were involved in Ethereum before the Ethereum token launched. So you can bet your bottom dollar these guys were disguised Ethereum whales.
Ether has suddenly reared its
Now they're putting their marketing in motion for Ethereum.
head and
They took a break when we discovered ETHgate.
hit new records.
It's very much what I call the Wall Street token. And what I mean by that is, if you think that because of stable coins now, every bank, and they are, and every financial services company has to have a way of taking in stable coins. If I want to send you stable coins, your bank has to figure it out,
Yep.
or you will find some other institution to do that. So the winner is who's going to be building on these blockchains. It's going to be some Ethereum or something that uses Ethereum's kind of methodology, which is called EVM. And so that's why ETH is because the Wall Street CTO is going to turn around saying, what the hell is this stuff? When am I going to build on? And it's going to be Ethereum.
Here's Goldman Sachs leads institutional Ethereum ETF holdings with 721 million of exposure, followed by Jane Street, which is where Sam Bankman-Fried came from to go form FTX, by the way. There are no coincidences. This was Stephen Narioff when he was talking about the Slack messages when he was there at Ethereum in the very beginning, folks. Just as a little reminder, we were directly over the target with ETHgate. We called it. They never thought anybody would expose it.
I do recall that on our Slack boards, there was a lot of veiled comments about the banks infiltrating us and JP Morgan. It was actually, they were mostly, if I remember, it was focused on Goldman Sachs, which was where supposedly Joe had worked previously. And Vitalik came in and I said, and I called.
So they were there. That's what this has all been about. I have a hunch they were also involved in the creation and marketing of Bitcoin early. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Here's these two whack jobs. Listen to this, and then I'll point out some facts.
I think it's important also to note.
Before you listen to this, remember, some BlackRock spokesman supposedly said, we're not currently, they chose their words wisely. We don't currently have plans to do an XRP or a Solana ETF. But these two clowns don't understand how BlackRock thinks, even though you can learn from history.
That BlackRock is a good one to look at is they have the Bitcoin ETF and the Ethereum ETF. And that you could see that the story of Bitcoin is easy. It's a powerful story.
Yeah, for children, it's easy.
There's no story for Ethereum. What is it? Right. Why? There's no story for any of the other currencies, the coins out there. BlackRock actually just recently said they're not going to offer a Solana or one of the other coins. I don't know. But they're not going to be, or XRP. They're not.
That's not what they said. They said they currently don't have plans.
They're going to be offering, ETFs for any of those. They're going to stick with, they're sticking with the Bitcoin one, especially. Even Coinbase, right? Like, so they keep on putting out these amazing Bitcoin commercials. They never do a commercial about XRP or.
That's because Coinbase also, as we showed in ETHgate, Coinbase has always had motives around Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Any of the other token.
Their chief legal officer, maybe he used to have .eth in his screen name on X. May still have it.
Is that they actually push if you sign up for them? Like it's like pushing
Remember, the plan was to have a monopoly for Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's what ETHgate was. And so, for 5 years or so, that's all they've done is Bitcoin. Now they realize they're going to get a level playing field, and they're starting to slowly change their tune.
Other tokens, because the exchanges make money on that, right? But the story, the narrative is only in Bitcoin. So that's the only story that matters.
I could tell her some stories about XRP. This is how naive these clowns are. They don't remember. Before there was a Bitcoin ETF from BlackRock, Larry Fink from BlackRock said Bitcoin is an index of money laundering. Then in July 2018, he says his clients show little interest in cryptocurrencies and downplayed Bitcoin's role, saying, "I don't believe we need an international currency," indicating skepticism about its utility as a global financial instrument. Then in November 2020, at the Council on Foreign Relations, he acknowledged Bitcoin's growing attention, but cautioned it could render the US dollar less relevant as a reserve currency, framing its potential a threat rather than an opportunity at the time. And then he went on later to create a Bitcoin ETF. But here's the article. He calls Bitcoin an index of money laundering. And then 2 or 3 years later, he does a Bitcoin ETF. Here's the BlackRock COO, and he's not just saying Bitcoin, he says Bitcoin and crypto.
What advice would you give to, sort of the rest of the financial universe that are thinking about getting into this space now?
It's a great question. I think from our lens, it's what I'm going to say is going to be very simple. Executing it is extremely hard. So I recognize that. But to us, it's very basic. You basically have a new set of exposures. Mm-hmm. The real utility in Unlock is to be able to put them in the whole portfolio. And interestingly enough, I think you could turn the telescope around also and say, ultimately, how do you put these capital markets exposures in digital wallets? And how do you go? So if you think about the bridge strategy of this alternate digital asset universe and
bridge strategy,
bringing it to the capital markets, I think it's naive to assume, and this doesn't have to be in a month, but if you look out over time, it's naive to assume that you don't also have to think through how do you bring the traditional capital markets to this alternative universe. And I think both connection points will define the next decade.
I couldn't agree more. And the best example of it, by the way, was the ETFs. So we got all thrown a curveball in the last minute. There were no in-kind creates. And so we were forced to try and figure out how to make old world meet new world, right? And so hopefully in the next version thereof, we're going to have more of a synthesis of those two things. So yeah, you're spot on. I agree with that. So.
Okay, we're going to go into DAIXRP.com, the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join below any of these YouTube videos. If you'd rather join through X, hit subscribe. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.